Good morning, people. It's me. I'm back. And we're continuing talking about Thomas. We're talking about faith in actual fact. And if Thomas was the doubter, then the counter argument to doubt is obviously faith. So we're talking about what a deeper kind of faith looks like. And we've spoken about how faith comes from hearing comes from understanding, and understanding comes about the Word of God. Some of the simplest truths are the most profoundly impactful in our lives if we'll just give them credit and give them due. But I want to say to you today, understanding of the Word of God is critical. We know that that's been said the last couple of days, but it is really critical, and you've got to get this, because good intentions to honor God are not always good enough. If they're not founded in the Word of God, can actually either at best mean nothing or at worst lead to disaster in your life. I have an example for you. In 2 Samuel chapter 6, we have David wanting to move the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. Great idea. What a wonderful idea. That was where the center of worship was. That's where the Ark of the Covenant was surely meant to be. And so David took it upon himself to move the Ark of the Covenant to some guy's house, and try and get it to Jerusalem. So he had all the good intentions in the world, but good intentions are not always good enough unless they're founded in the Word of God. So David set about to himself to get the ark there. You know what he did? He went and he made a trailer, and he had some oxen draw the trailer. And as he was walking along, as the ark was moving along, everything looked like it was going fine until it hit a pothole, and down the wheel went, and Uzzah reached out to touch it to protect the ark. Again, good intentions, but not good enough, because they weren't based upon an understanding of the Word of God. God struck Uzzah dead. David was angry, went back to Jerusalem. He says, God, I don't understand. Here I am with all the good intentions in the world, doing what I know is the right thing to do. And look what you did. You sabotaged my efforts, and I don't know why. And God was silent. Didn't say a word. And then one day David finds the book of the law, and he reads in the book, it says, if you want to move the Ark of the Covenant, it has to be borne on the shoulders of the priests, one on each corner of the Ark, and they walk the Ark to wherever you want to go. And David realized, man, the consequence of my not taking the Word of God seriously enough, despite my good intentions, was not good enough, and led to pain and suffering for Uzzah, his family, and pretty much for the whole nation. They were deeply, deeply disappointed. David's heart was broken over his own failure, and yet he restored himself. He found the Word of God. He found out how to do it. He put a smile back on his face. He picked himself up out of the misery of depression and failure. He says, we're going to do this right. We're going to do it again, and I know what to do this time. And he went down. The priests came. They carried the ark. And with great rejoicing, David walks into Jerusalem ahead of the ark, dancing like he'd never danced before. That's the beautiful consequence, positive consequence, to obedience to the Word of God. Now, we could get away with a lot today by excusing ourselves to say, man, my intentions were good, but God just didn't pull this thing off for me. Well, as we've said, good intentions are good, but they're just not good enough. We have to make sure that our good intentions lie up with the Word of God, are in line with everything that God says. And when we can get those two things, and the third thing is confirmation from God, then we can move ahead, that this is the right thing for us to do. So, there's a great truth for us to think about and to apply into our lives today. Is this good intentions is great. I love having good intentions, love hanging around people with good intentions. But the direction of the Word of God, not the word of some prophet or some pastor or some superstar dude, their words are nice, and they might be encouraging and helpful at times, but there's no substitute, people, no substitute for the Word of God to keep you on track and make sure that God is glorified at the end. Go and have a good day, people. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.